guys get any countertop upstairs?
No.
No?
No, why?
I don't know. Something in your kitchen looks different. Okay. No? Do any new house projects lately?
Nope. I bought the stuff to fix that bathroom there. It's just like some putty I need.
Oh, yeah?
But
What's wrong with it? Is it something in the upper bowl?
It's in the bowl. Water from the tank leaks in the bowl. So it's
So it's always running?
Yeah. So I shut the water off and I just need to seal it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't brought myself to do it.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any house projects you're doing? We don't have to cut the grass anymore.
I still am.
You are?
Yeah. What? So I think a couple episodes ago I talked about my maintenance list that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm trying this year is mulching my leaves instead of raking them.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that this past weekend I mowed my full lawn and then more leaves fell.
Yeah.
When it rained all week. So I've got to mow it again. And then I'm doing one last feed on the lawn before it freezes.
Yeah.
So yeah, my maintenance task is mowing the front yard every Friday and then mowing the backyard once a week or once a month. I mean.
You put like fertilizer down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not fertilizer. Grass feed. Like the bag with the spreader and everything like that.
Oh, okay.
So I back in the spring, downloaded the Scott's My Lawn app that was like supposed to tell me when to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But really, in essence, what I'm committing to do, because I want to have a lawn that like actually looks like a lawn and doesn't just look like dandelions and crabgrass, is seed and feed my lawn 3 separate times a year, once in the spring and then twice in the fall. And then in the spring, I'm also going to get a dethatcher, which goes through and cuts roots of weeds. It's a machine. It's kind of like aerating, if you've ever seen the shoes that you can wear and aerate your lawn. But it basically just cuts grass and causes weeds, which tend to spread out with their roots, causes those to die, and encourages grass, which tends to grow down. And it also adds oxygen into the soil and stuff. So that's going to be my project for probably April or May. So I'm trying to make an effort, because that's the reason I don't like mowing my lawn, is my lawn is just gross anyways as it is.
But if it was like this nice, thick, luscious
that I was
grass,
proud of, and I'm like, man, he's got a nice lawn, then it might be worth doing. So.
I could see you out there like cutting it diagonal.
Yeah, crisscross patterns, make a checkerboard in my backyard.
Make a baseball field, dead baseball players come out the cornfields.
Walk through the fence from Target to go and play baseball in my backyard. So that's the effort that I'm making. And then I've got a bunch of other tasks that I'm just trying to stick to on a weekly and monthly basis. So it's been working so far.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Gonna clean up my gutters again. I've already done it once, but need to do that again before it starts raining hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's funny, because I didn't feel like raking my leaves a couple weeks ago, so I just mowed it. I just put a bag on the lawnmower, mowed it, and whatever wasn't in the bag was just cut up.
Yeah, so. I've got to do a few passes on it. That's why I'm still mowing it weekly, because it cuts up a lot, but I have a lot of leaves too, so it'll cut the top layers, but then leave some of the bottom layers and stuff. So I've got a leaf blower too, so I'm blowing the leaves out of the flower beds and the driveway onto the lawn so that I can mulch them and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's good to mulch, but you need to be thorough and make sure that there aren't still giant leaves, especially packed down from rain.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to kill your
lawn.
lawn.
Then your grass.
So even if you go over it with a light raking just to scuff it all up and then mow it again. So I'm trying.
Yeah. Seems like you're doing the right thing.
It's not fun, but it's on my to-do list. It's on my calendar, so now it's just a matter of not breaking the red X's, right? So, what else? we bought a new drawer for our refrigerator.
Okay.
So that came from Amazon yesterday. So we had a broken drawer. Our cheese drawer was broken towards the back. So anytime you would pull it out more than halfway, it would just fall out. And we've dealt with this for like, I don't know how many years. I've just avoided this thing. And finally, I'm just like, I cleaned out the refrigerator, had to defrost the freezer this past weekend. And I'm like, why do I deal with this? So I went on Amazon and for like $40, I bought a new drawer. It's just little things like that where I'm just like, why do I put up with these minor inconveniences?
I know.
This is bad, but for the longest time, our washing machine, we had to stand next to it while it was draining because it would back up the pipe.
Oh, yeah.
And then flood.
Yeah.
And so we would stand there and we would just lift up the lid anytime we could hear it backing up and then let it drain and then put it down. I think like 3 months ago, September, August or so, we finally called a plumber to come and fix it. And they went down below the house and we had cast iron pipes under the house that were starting to get all clogged up and everything like that. And in the past, I've snaked it, and it's solved the problem for like 2 or 3 months. I've called in a professional to snake it too. But finally, we just paid $700. They gutted out all the old pipes, put all new pipes in and everything like that. And it's made such a big difference. But it's just one of those inconveniences that like, it's fine. So like the first week that we could do it where we could actually just like put down the lid on the wash machine and walk away. We're like, this is going to change our lives. To be able to do laundry like normal people.
Right.
But we just get those inconveniences that instead of dealing with them like a leaking toilet or a lawn that needs 2 or 3 years of good care to take off, we're just like, I'll deal with it next time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
when it could save, if you just spend time now and deal with it, it saves you time down the road.
Yeah, because now I can throw a load of laundry in and go to bed. I can throw a load of laundry in and leave the house. Yeah. And it's going to be done and not flooding the house when I get back. So
yeah.
So I'm on a mission to find those things that it's like, just solve it and get it done with. A month ago, I installed a deadbolt on our front door that we'd never had, but now we have one and it's done, and I don't have to think about that ever again.
Do you feel really good when you do those DIY projects?
I do. So this happened to me. I also 2 weekends ago I complained about this on Facebook that a quick project around the house never stays quick. I was trying to fix my son's bed because I made his bed. My wife had bought a headboard and a footboard, and I attached the rails between them that the mattress would sit on. Yeah. But when I made it with white wood from Lowe's, the cheap pine kind of whatever it is. And it ended up falling apart because he jumps on it. He's 6, and he does not take care of his stuff. So I redid it like 2 weeks ago with poplar, a hardwood, that was a little bit more expensive, but it's been fine now. So that ended up taking a lot longer than I thought it would. And that project ran long. But at the same time that I was there, we've had 2 panes of glass knocked out in our laundry room. One of them was knocked out like the first year we moved in. So 7 years, we've had a pane of glass knocked out, and I just replaced it with a square of styrofoam and taped it off. And I'm just sitting there, and another one broke recently, and I just taped it with clear tape, and noticed that it was like not sticking anymore, so it was flapping open, and I'm like, why am I putting up with this?
Yeah.
So I went to Lowe's, had them cut me 2 pieces of glass, 7 3/4 inch pieces of glass, and replaced these 2 panes. And that project ended up taking me 10 minutes for something that I've lived with for 7 years.
Yeah.
So projects like that I feel very satisfied by. It's when I get frustrated with the tile in my bathroom and I'm like, I'm just going to gut this and refloor it. And it ends up taking 4 days.
Yeah.
And still not satisfied with it, kind of thing like that.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's why we put up with the inconvenience, because we're like, this is never going to be as easy as I think it's going to be because I got to go to Lowe's. I didn't know about this part. Oh, this is a kink in here. I uncovered this thing. Now I got to go back to Lowe's. Mm-hmm. That's what kills me.
But
it's still...
It's a Band-Aid that you just need to rip off.
Yeah.
And almost always, even if it takes you a day or 2 or 3, almost always it's better than the feeling of hating your own house.
Yes.
That you live with when you just put up with things like that. Like we need to have an electrician come by because we have lights and ceiling fixtures in our house that don't work at all. Mm-hmm. And it's annoying to use lamps and not use light switches and stuff. But we just need to rip the Band-Aid off and do it.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, I ripped the Band-Aid off and brought in a dumpster, had a roll-off dumpster put in my driveway, and just got rid of everything that was irritating me in one fell swoop instead of taking 8 or 9 trips to the dump with stuff.
Right.
So you just gotta do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's painful, but the minor irritation that makes you not look forward to walking through your own front door to a house that's a mess and has issues with it is so much worth it.
Yeah, you ever watch those it's like Clean Sweep on HGTV where the people's like living room.
They gut the house basically.
Yeah.
Pull everything out and then put it back in.
Yeah, their living room is literally covered with like books and trash. Like, it kills me. Yeah.
There was something else I was gonna say. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, why do we resist things?
So we're going to talk about a book for our topic today called The War of Art.
Not the Art of War.
Right. That's a different podcast episode.
Sun Tzu.
Sun Tzu, yeah. We'll talk about that one some other day.
Sure.
This is The War of Art, and this is written by an author named Stephen Pressfield. The first part of this book deals with this thing that Pressfield calls the resistance. And it's that feeling of now's not the right time, or I'm not the right person for this task, or something's going to go wrong, or I'm going to get into this and it's going to end up taking 3 days and I'm going to have to go back to Lowe's and things aren't going to go the way that I want them to. That gets us to rationalize away from doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay. Can I read off Resistance's greatest hits?
Yeah.
All right. The following is a list that most commonly elicit resistance. The pursuit of any calling in writing, painting, music, film, dance, or any creative art, however marginal or unconventional. The launching of any entrepreneurial venture or enterprise for profit or otherwise. Any diet or health regimen. Any program or spiritual advancement. Any activity whose aim is tighter abdominals. Any course or program designed to overcome an unwholesome habit or addiction. Education of every kind. Any act of political, moral, or ethical change, including the decision to change for the better some unworthy pattern of thought or conduct in ourselves. The undertaking of any enterprise or endeavor whose aim is to help others. Any act that entails commitment of the heart. The decision to get married, to have a child, to weather a rocky patch in a relationship. The taking of any principled stand in the face of adversity. Yeah, those are all things that could cause that resistance shows up most of the time, all the time.
Yeah, the summary of that, it says, in other words, any act that rejects immediate gratification in favor of long-term growth, health, or integrity, or expressed another way, any act that derives from our higher nature instead of our lower, any of these will elicit resistance. So if the thought of doing it is harder than actually doing it, that's probably resistance talking in that case.
Yeah.
So we've talked about this before. Seth Godin calls this the dip. What I like about this book and talking about it as resistance is there's a tendency to feel like once I'm past the dip, the hard part's done and it's smooth sailing from here.
Yeah.
Whereas the resistance can show up every single day that you're doing something. You have to recommit every morning to sit down and do hard work with the resistance. Where it's like the dip, if I just push through this, guess what? There's going to be another dip when you hit another plateau.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the resistance. And he actually puts a name to it, and you can call it that. So.
Yeah. Something that stuck out to me was he said that fear doesn't go away.
Yeah.
And that's, like, I think of it this way, like, when I was, like, in first grade learning addition, like, single-digit addition, I'd be like, okay, once I master this, it's clear sailing from here. So you master that, and you can memorize things easy. You're like, okay, why was that so hard? That was nothing. Now comes multiplication. Oh man, now it just keeps building and building.
Yeah.
So.
And the parts that you find hard get easier.
Yeah.
So, you can deal with the fear of, I'm not going to be able to add these two numbers together. But there's going to be a next level that you'll never get to unless you can master this level.
Yeah.
So people who are like, math is hard, I can't do addition, never get to
calculus,
the joys of
string theory,
geometry, string theory, whatever, physics, stuff like that. You never get to the joys that those higher levels bring on.
I don't know how joy and math come together.
Well, they do for some people.
I know, some people love it.
But, you never get to the joys of reading 17th century English literature if you can't push through, the hard parts to get there.
Tom Sawyer.
The Iliad or something like that to get there. So he, in the chapter about Fear Never Goes Away, he talks about Henry Fonda, the actor, who at even 75 years old, he said, would throw up before every scene that he had to act out.
Yeah.
I've heard others, public speakers, people that you would recognize names that are just like, I have chills every time I have to go out on stage. And I think even like Steve Jobs, I think, got nervous before he gave presentations. So it doesn't go away. It might not even necessarily get easier, but you learn to recognize it and you learn to do things anyways.
Right.
So.
Wonder. No, that thought's gone. But procrastination. That's a big one. Because the resistance, it doesn't tell you, you'll never write your symphony.
Hadoken!